Hello, everyone, and welcome back to God of War. We're still making our way through more Pandora's Temple type stuff. So, yep.
Ah.
Yep. Let's get ready to go.
I'm sorry, I was staring at that stuff growing on the wall, and from this distance it looks like mushrooms or something. I don't know. The frickin'
Wait,
popcorn.
are we actually back in the temple from the first game?
I'm talking about the frickin' popcorn-like growths on the walls. Can you see them? Well, they're not on screen now, but
No, not anymore.
Barnacles?
they look like barnacles. That's what I'm thinking. It's like, yeah, gross.
I got the subtitles had to clarify that Kratos was.
Kratos is going, Rah!
He said Ra, as in like the Egyptian god.
It just occurred to me they probably are barnacles because this place was underwater, right?
Well, that's definitely barnacles. Yeah, but there's also some bioluminescent shrooms on the left side there too.
Yeah.
Well, this whole area was underwater, right? When who's his face?
Yarmungandr.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about that kind of makes me want to play Subnautica. I need to get my hands on a copy of that game because
Every time I see like a bioluminescent mushroom, I just immediately think of like the Phazon mines from Metroid Prime.
Okay, whenever I ever hear the word bioluminescent, my nephew really likes Moana because he's 1.5 and he watches the same movie and over again. So I keep on thinking of oh God, what's his name? The crab. He's going. It's a piece of barnacle covered with bioluminescent algae as a.
I never watched Moana.
Oh, Moana's really good.
Subnautica is like a survival game, but it's also very Metroid Prime. You might actually like it, John.
It's.
I don't know. I don't really dig underwater.
It's endless ocean, but scarier.
Well, I mean, you're not always underwater. You find like wreckage.
But it
and
was called
islands and stuff.
Subnautica. I want my money back.
You make you
It's more like Subnautica.
you make bases.
Nuts.
You drive
Why
vehicles
is no one here when I
around,
make these jokes?
You do a lot of stuff underwater, but you also do a lot of stuff like on your feet in like various sunken
Underwater.
in various sunken structures and ancient technologies and isolated islands. So it's like I enjoyed what I saw of it, and I saw quite a lot of it because I was editing videos for this guy who was streaming it for a while. So it looked really fun.
Yes, that's it. I understand now. It shows
Uh,
Tyr walking the realm between realms.
The what?
You know how you must never stray from the path? Well, Tyr always
Okay.
followed his own path, if you catch my meaning.
So basically, we have to do the thing we were told not to do.
Right.
Cool.
Of course we do. It's a video game story. At some point, you have to do everything as you're told not to do, except die. Although in Kratos' case, that happens a lot too. I mean, at some
Was there ever a game that you played where a legend of some sort is specifically mentioned but never paid off in any sense and it just drives you nuts?
there are a few cases, I think, where something is brought up, but they never got around to implementing it in the game. So not on purpose, but like a loose thread that never got followed up on during development. Hell, Legacy of Kain does that a lot. Yeah.
I'm mostly thinking of the things that stick with me are more rumors than anything else, like all the Pokemon rumors from the 90s and whatnot.
If you're thinking about
All that shit gave me life as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I different Pokemon for Zelda too
Yeah.
and Final Fantasy.
but playing Legends Arceus just made me realize, like, man, that shit was stupid back then too. Because, like, in order to evolve some of the Pokemon in Arceus, you need to like specifically like use a specific move in like a specific style, like 20 times or something like that. And it just makes me think, man, you're never gonna figure that out without a guide.
What was the one thing you were convinced might be true in a game that you wasted enough time to and then realize, oh, I've been duped.
Oh, okay. So I actually have a good example of this, and it's funny because when I say it out loud, it sounds extremely obviously fake. When I was playing Paper Mario as a kid, I had a lot of trouble with the Chapter 6 boss, Huff and Puff. And so I had this asshole kid at school who's like, oh, if you talk to Luigi 100 times, he gives you a gun and that'll let you kill him.
What?
Yeah, and I did
listening.
it. I talked to Luigi 100 times, and nothing happened. So yeah, I mean, every school had the asshole kid who made up bullshit.
I had a friend who was convinced the fucking Akuma in Resident Evil 2 thing was real. You know, was making up stories about how he was actually using it. He was like, you're full of shit. And I never even played Resident Evil 2. I know you're full of shit.
Did you ever, who was it, the Fenlong rumor for Street Fighter 2?
Oh, Shenlong,
Shenlong,
yeah. No, I never tried that. It's not quite the same thing. It was just more like I didn't realize it wasn't in this version of the game. I played a lot of rival schools in the PlayStation 1 growing up because I was all about fighting games in the PS1 around that time. And there was one thing that you could unlock if you S-ranked all of the training mode segments, which was not easy because it was really strict on what you had to do. And if you managed to S-rank every single course, it was like 20 or 30 of them, you unlocked character creation. You get to make your own character and, you know, build their stats and all that. I did not know that was only in the Japanese version of the game.
Oh no!
Wait, which game is this?
Rival Schools.
Rival Schools.
Oh.
Why'd they take that out?
Which Capcom needs to revitalize at some point. Akira in Street Fighter V is not enough. Anyway.
An asshole move.
Hey, remember when Capcom announced a dinosaur shooting game in the last state of playing it wasn't Dino Crisis?
Oh my god. How do you not make that Dino Crisis? They had to know what they were doing, especially with that girl with the orange hair.
They
had
might be like treating it as a spiritual successor because, you know, I'm gonna be blunt. The ongoing story in Dino Crisis is fucking stupid. Like, beyond Resident Evil tier fucking stupid. Like, nothing redeemable exists in that story at all. Also,
Well,
the
I mean,
actual,
they
like...
could have just made it a reboot.
Also,
you know?
yeah, I know, but, like, also the actual, like, ongoing development of the Dino Crisis series is really awkward to follow up from because we have one, like, hardcore survival horror with, like, really tough enemies and a bleeding mechanic and all, and then immediately afterward there's a Devil May Cry tier action game, and that's all we have for Dino Crisis. Like, which one of those two do you follow up on, really? Because they're both extremely popular. You won't find, I don't think you'll find anybody who hates one or the other either, so it's like, okay, which Dino Crisis are we following up on?
The obvious answer is to do a game in neither styles and piss both fans off at the same time.
Right. So, like, you know, they by making a Dino Crisis-like game that, you know, is separate enough from the franchise that it's allowed to be its own thing and can just focus on whatever angle it wants without being too beholden to the franchise as it exists. They sort of, like, you know, like, they can draw in Dino Crisis fans who want another game like that, but, you know, they don't necessarily have to make another game exactly like either of the two, you know? And enough time has passed that, like, a spiritual successor might be actually more successful than just following up on a sequel to these two old as fuck games that you can only play on PS3 right now. You know, that's my thought on it. I'm not, like, super bitter that they're not doing an actual Dino Crisis.
They're making a Street Fighter 6 too, right?
Yeah, with a cheap-ass logo that everyone called out.
Yeah, at the time of this video going up, we don't know if they're planning on changing the logo itself, but as is, it's
Honestly,
the most cheap fucking looking.
Honestly, like,
thing.
some higher-up probably made the call that they absolutely, positively had to have a Street Fighter 6 teaser right now. And, like, the people in charge of making the shit don't have any, like, decent concept development done because they haven't finalized
The thing is,
anything.
though, I would think that the logo would be the first thing you'd work on.
No, because, like, you'd want to actually decide, like, what the look and feel of the game itself is going to be before you try to like, crunch that down and sum it up in a logo, you know?
Right.
Like,
at the same time, considering the size of the dev team that Street Fighter would have for a Capcom property being one of their most lucrative, you have multiple teams working on that at the same time. It's not one and then
but
the
right
other.
now, they're probably still undecided on what style they want to go with for the game. Like, hey, maybe we can try a Tekken-like style that's photorealistic, because we've gone with this cartoony style for the last 2 games, and things are looking kind of plastic. Let's mix it up. But then, halfway through that, they decide, you know what, this looks wrong. We need to go back to the drawing board and try a different art style because this just doesn't look Street Fighter. They might be thinking along those lines, for all we know.
I think they're going back to like Street Fighter 4, honestly, considering how utterly wide Ryu looks in that teaser.
Maybe. Like,
No, he's just being played by Kylo Ren.
Kylo, oh, sorry.
That too, yeah.
His pants just go up to his nipples.
sorry, that's like the least fitting casting for Ryu that I've ever heard in my life.
I'm now just like imagining that fucking Kylo Ren image with him just having Ryu's headband.
Yeah.
That's the only.
No, wait,
edit.
hold on.
Like he's just
MS
wearing-
Paint. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. If I type in Kylo Ren nipples, will it pull up the picture I'm thinking of? Yep, there it is. Up, and now they're zoomed in way too much on it. Okay.
I was going to
we
make
go.
a joke
Hold on.
about making a live-action Hollywood Street Fighter where
Well, they've already done that twice.
where
They did that twice.
I was gonna say, like, I was gonna make a joke about making a live-action Hollywood Street Fighter where the American character is the main character instead of the Japanese one. Then I realized that's exactly what they did with the live-action Street Fighter we got.
Well, no, they made a Street Fighter movie where it's the American characters are the focus, and then they made a Street Fighter movie where Chun-Li, the Chinese character, is the focus. So,
When did they do the second one?
early 2000s. I think it was called Legend.
Yeah, Legend of Chun-Li. No, Legend of Chun-Li was like mid.
That
to
would be
late
why I
2000s.
never heard of it.
Yeah. Nobody liked it.
Well, I figured. But if you're gonna make a character that isn't Ryu, the main character of a Street Fighter thing, Chun-Li would be the one to do.
Another name.
Well, Chun-Li is just a more interesting character to be. Dan Hibiki, make Dan Hibiki.
Well, I
the main
mean,
character.
Chun-Li's storyline, like her actual character, also just like ties in with the main plot of the series more. I mean, even more so than Ryu, who's just kind of a fighter who wants to be a fighter because fighting.
I don't think you can feasibly make a single movie on one character in Street Fighter. I think it worked better as an anthology
Well,
series.
you
honestly.
could make a Street Fighter movie that focused on one character's perspective on the other characters, and I feel it would work. But that's not the formula, you see, that Hollywood thrives on. The formula that Hollywood thrives on is the 3-act structure. If it's not the 3-act structure, marketing common sense, which is always right and never wrong, dictates that it will not succeed at anything, ever.
Behold my MS Paint masterpiece.
For context, because I know we're recording, Ted posted.
I'm sorry, you said that, like, the moment that Kratos summoned the thing out of the gateway control panel, and I was like, wow, that's an actually pretty impressive for MS Paint.
I made
To get on our tangent, I was going to say get on topic, but we're tangenting as per usual. They just released a trailer like maybe a week ago of a Tekken series they're doing on Netflix, which actually looks really, really good, which is surprising considering Tekken.
Looks like it's like a prequel to 3 because of Jin and Ogre.
Yeah, but like
stuff,
the,
so.
I mean, the animation looked really solid, and the acting was also like surprisingly good.
So who's Adam Driver playing?
In Tekken, probably Jack, I would say.
What?
Wait, Jack.
I mean, look at that frame. He can't be anybody other than Jack.
I don't know.
But I guess to bring to your point, streaming service, like that would work a lot better for a fighting game kind of story where there's a lot of characters who all want at least some amount of time for growth.
Yeah, like, this is going to be like a really weird fucking thing to say, but like the best adaptation of a fighting game story into another medium that I've ever read is actually a really long-lasting fan fiction called The Newest Challenger, and I don't want to lose you the moment I say this, but it's a Naruto crossover of all things. It's a Naruto crossover. Naruto and Sasuke both get trapped in the Street Fighter world after they fight at the waterfall for the first time. So their entire plot gets derailed, and they're just trapped in the Street Fighter world, and that's all there is to it. They can't get back to their main story in their own universe, so they just sort of give up. And so they're Street Fighter characters now, and this sounds like a hokey concept, but it's a really long, really detailed story about what these characters are up to alongside the Street Fighter cast, and it actually manages to play the Street Fighter universe straight in a way that works. And you know, I read this. This is a fan fiction that's been around for like 10 years. I want to say, because I remember reading it when I was a lot younger. It's still active, still occasionally getting new chapters.
Does Sasuke fall into the Sasuke no Dark Side or whatever the hell it's called?
The Satsui no Hada.
Yeah, the Sasuke no Burrito.
Yeah, the Sasuke no Dark
I
Side.
don't know.
Yeah, that's the new name
I
for it.
remember, like, at one point, Ryu mistakes the Ninetales for that, but no, I don't know. But, like, the point is, like, this story, above all other things, exists as a perfect proof of concept for how you can make a fighting game story work in long form, narratively, and make it satisfying without, like, deviating too much from what a fighting game actually is, you know? You can take that story idea and make it seem sensible, even though it's about as sensible as let me think. What's something extremely nonsensical? Eating a bowl of raspberry SpaghettiOs for breakfast.
You could have just left it as eating a bowl.
Well, you know, you could. Yeah, okay. My point was, like, conceptually, it's a jumble of elements that should not connect to each other, but you can make it work if you try. And long-form storytelling is really good for that kind of thing. Not so much Hollywood movies, though.
Oh, I forgot that he had to speak Dory Whale in order to talk to the snake.
What does escape mean?
Might still be in his stomach. And he's open to letting you roll into his mouth to look inside.
Oh, we get to do it inside the creature level? Oh, that's sick.
Also,
I mean, we've done it
I
before
was
with the
going to
Hydra.
say Kratos has been in bigger.
Either.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well, no, the Hydra wasn't as huge as
No,
this
not
guy.
the Hydra. I'm talking like
Kratos.
crap bullet.
Kronos.
Kratos gets
yeah.
to explore Monstro, is what we're saying.
oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I forgot that this is this game's equivalent of Jabu Jabu's Belly, and I hate that dungeon. Never mind. Can we leave and never come back? Do we have to pick up Atreus and hold him over our head with Link's stupid running animation? Can we mod that into the game now?
I mean, I'm sure we could mod it into the game. We got the CJ and Barney mod, so.